All right, the question was, when we do an optimization, are we doing it on a specific symbol or on a portfolio? And the short answer to that question, in TradeStation for now, you can only do one symbol at a time, and then you're responsible for compiling and integrating the results of several backtests with several symbols if you want to go towards portfolio optimization. Now, TradeStation made 2 acquisitions last year, one of a product called Portfolio Maestro, and the other for a product called the Grail. Both of these products have extensive portfolio optimization features and are expected to be rolled out over the next several months as part of TradeStation version 9. However, there's no commitment to when that'll happen, and with the acquisition by Monex, the emphasis might be on supporting Asian markets, and that they might not get to that for a while. So for now, the only way to go for portfolio optimization is to use MultiCharts, and MultiCharts in its programs folder has something called Portfolio Backtester, and this is allows you to create scenarios for testing portfolios with multiple combinations of strategy on a multiple symbol set. But this again is a fairly sophisticated program you have to learn how to use. There are advantages to doing portfolio backtesting over single symbol backtesting and optimization. And they're especially relevant if you're going to be playing the exact same strategy with the exact same settings over multiple symbols. But there are advantages also for optimizing and tuning a strategy specifically to one symbol at a time, and it depends on your risk-reward objectives which is better. So while the answer is a little complicated, Rick, to simplify it, the first thing to do is understand how to do single symbol backtesting and what advantage it gives you, and how to do it in such a way that it's not curve fitting, but it's true backtesting. You know the difference between curve fitting. Basically, what my preamble is, you want to go through a scientific-like process to ensure that you're doing backtesting for the purposes of expectation evaluation rather than curve fitting for the purposes of making the strategy look the best over the data set you happen to have chose. And that's the biggest fallacy that people buy into right away. They tune it, and tune it over a specific backtesting period, and they get their performance curve to look great, and then they find that when they play that strategy, it doesn't really help trading in the future, because what they've done is they've curve fit. And there are techniques that you have to go through, one of which is walk forward optimization. All right, so what we want to do, and walk forward optimization also has some details in its optimization in terms of what is your sample size and what is your out of sample size. So for example, what we might be heading for is a strategy designed to do well on any stock that comes out of a specific HDSI scan. And so we take that scan, we launch template workspaces for every symbol that comes out in that scan, and we do that daily. And then those templates are optimized strategies for that particular HDSI scan that have been optimized over a portfolio of stocks that would have come out of that scan in the past. And then you use some common sense. Well, does it make sense to do a to do a 3-year optimization where you have 1 month in sample, 1 week out of sample, or 3 months out of sample and test it and then when you do that, when you actually trade the strategy, you're going to want to re-optimize the strategy after every out of sample period, so that you keep in tune going forward. So it's like a continuous process of optimizing, creating the right template, playing that template for the next period for real, and then continually retesting it to make sure your backtesting and optimization is calibrated with your actual trading. And if you go ahead and do all that, you can get to Mount Everest. So going back to our original Sherpa guide metaphor, the first base camp is setting up MultiCharts and TradeStation for a specific strategy and a specific time frame matching. The second base camp is to determine what the walk forward optimization settings should be. The third base camp is to run your optimized results in simulation mode for a period of time. The next base camp is to make sure your simulated actual results match the backtesting results for the same period, or are close enough. That means you're calibrated, and that you have a reasonable expectation that your backtesting results and expectations is reasonable to color your expectations of the future. And then you're at the final base camp, and you've got to make some determinations of having a good strategy that's matched to the stock picking that you can count on, and then you load up the black box versions of TradeFormers, and you keep it on. You watch them. You don't have to trade. You just have to see how they're doing, and you check your balance every day. And I can say that I've had 3 systems that I've done this way, and they've all produced good, real results, but only after a lot of sweat. So if you're prepared for the sweat, don't expect that you buy Lexi. The moral of this whole story is backtesting is better than not backtesting, to give you a reasonable expectation, to give you some expectation of how a strategy would work if you would have traded it, rather than just blindly going and trade it. But it doesn't, just because you got good backtesting results doesn't mean you have positive expectancy, because you could have curve fitting, and you need to do walk forward optimization in the 2-step process I outlined in terms of the base camps to get to a reasonable conclusion of positive expectancy, because curve fitting is very deadly and very easy to fall into the delusion that you have a strategy that gives you positive expectancy, when in fact you have it just tuned to the period you're looking at. And it's a dynamic process. You need to continue. The markets change, and the way the strategies are flexible enough that they can be dynamically tuned to keep step. But it's like a periodic calibration of a precision instrument. And I don't know if you have any engineering background, but with precision instruments, you need to calibrate them to be able to count on the measurements and stuff. So I think that's a good 30-minute segment. All right, good. So